You meet her at the gallery opening. She laughs, touches your arm, leans close. You feel the pull, the warmth, the promise. You begin to orbit, and the moment you do, something inside you dies. Camus wrote that we spend our lives seeking completion in others. We hand them the mirror we should hold ourselves up to. We ask them to fill the void we refuse to face. The absurd man knows better. He carries his own weight. He does not beg the world to love him into existence. She texts you at midnight after 3 days of silence. You respond in 4 minutes, heart racing, relief flooding in. She reads it, leaves you on scene, returns when she chooses. You have just taught her that your attention costs nothing. In the attention economy, free goods hold no value. You tell yourself this is connection, vulnerability, openness. But watch what happens when you withdraw for a week. Suddenly she appears curious and engaged, leaning forward again. The mirror you held up to her was not love. It was a reflection of your own desperation wearing a smile. Camus believed we must imagine Sisyphus happy. Not because the rock reaches the summit, but because he no longer needs the summit to justify his effort. You push the boulder because you choose to, not because she watches. The moment her gaze becomes your reason, you are no longer free. Dating dynamics reveal this with surgical precision. You call her twice a day, plan your evenings around her schedule. She mentions a concert, and you buy tickets before she asks. You think you are showing devotion. You are showing fear. Fear that if you stop performing, she will see you are dispensable. Masculine sovereignty is not cruelty or distance. It is the quiet knowledge that you exist entirely, whether she stays or leaves. You do not contract around her moods, her tests, her shifting attention. You remain the axis while she orbits or drifts. It makes no difference. Your center does not move because another person arrives or departs. She cancels plans an hour before you meet. You say no problem, reschedule whenever. I am flexible, I understand. She hears, his time bends to my convenience, his boundaries are negotiable. Next week she will cancel again, this time with no reason given. You have trained her in what you will tolerate by what you accept. Camus spoke of living without appeal. The absurd man does not plead with the universe for fairness. He does not ask the gods to reward his suffering with meaning. He creates meaning through his stance, his refusal to collapse, his choice. You are doing the opposite when you beg her to see your worth. Think of the forge, the way steel hardens under heat and pressure. You do not soften the blade by making it warmer, gentler, or more yielding. You temper it through discipline, through knowing when to strike and when to cool. She does not need another source of warmth. She needs an edge she cannot dull. You become that edge by refusing to melt every time she applies heat. She tells you about the other man who texted her. You laugh it off, say you are secure, and you trust her completely. Inside, you are calculating, scanning, adjusting your behavior to compete. She watches this and files it away. He is afraid of loss. Fear of loss is the scent that attracts the predator, not the protector. The shadow holds everything you deny about your need for her approval. Jung called it the repository of what we exile from the self-image. You exile the part of you that would rather be alone than tolerated. You exile the part that knows she is testing whether you will hold frame. So you perform generosity, flexibility, understanding, and call it love. Boundaries are not walls you build in anger after betrayal. They are the quiet lines you draw in calm water before the storm. She arrives late twice, you say nothing, absorb it, let it pass. The third time you are busy, suddenly you have other plans, other priorities. She feels the shift and recalibrates because consequences teach what words cannot. Camus lived through war, plague, exile, and the collapse of systems. He did not ask the chaos to stop so he could be happy. He stood in the chaos and chose happiness anyway, without permission. You are waiting for her to permit you to feel whole. That is not love. That is hostage negotiation with your own nervous system. You check her social media 5 times before breakfast. She posted a photo with friends, smiling, no mention of you. You feel the drop, the knot in your stomach, the urge to text. She's living her life, and you are monitoring it like surveillance footage. This is not connection. This is the slow erosion of selfhood through obsession. Selection pressure in nature favors organisms that adapt without losing core function. The tree bends in the wind, but the root system holds firm. You are bending so far in her direction that your roots lift from the soil. Soon you will topple, and she will step over you on her way to someone grounded. Women do not love the man who abandons himself to love her. They resent him. She says she needs space to figure things out. You offer reassurance, promise to wait, and ask what you can do to help. She hears, "I will remain in stasis while you explore your options." A man with options does not wait in the lobby of her indecision. He walks out the door and continues building a life that does not require her. The anima is the inner feminine, the contrasexual image Jung described. When you project it entirely onto her, she becomes the sole carrier of your inner balance. She must be muse, mother, mirror, and meaning, all at once. No human being can carry that load without eventually collapsing or fleeing. You destroy her by making her responsible for the work you refuse to do inside. Camus wrote that the only serious question is whether life is worth living. He did not write whether she thinks your life is worth joining. The moment you outsource that question to her, you lose the thread. You become a referendum she conducts, not a man she respects. Respect does not emerge from need. It emerges from self-possession that asks for nothing. She picks a fight over something trivial, tone sharp, eyes watching. You apologize immediately, backtrack, and try to smooth it over with a soft tone. She feels a flicker of contempt she cannot name, but you can sense. The test was not about the dishes or the comment. It was about the frame. Would you hold your reality or collapse into hers at the first sign of tension? The throne is not a symbol of domination. It is a symbol of immovability. The king does not leap from the throne every time someone enters the room. He remains seated, grounded, and the visitor comes to him. You are running to the door, bowing, offering the crown before she asks. She does not want the crown. She wants to see if you will keep it. You plan elaborate surprises, weekend trips, and gifts she did not request. She says thank you, smiles, but the warmth you hoped for does not appear. You are pouring effort into a well with no bottom, hoping it will fill. The well does not need more water. It needs to be sealed at the base. You are trying to solve for her emptiness when the leak is in your own foundation. Leverage in any system is the point at which minimal input produces maximum output. You have inverted the equation. Maximum input, minimal return, infinite tolerance. She learns that your effort is constant, that attention is guaranteed. Scarcity creates value. You have flooded the market with your presence. The price crashes because the supply never stops, no matter how low demand falls. Camus believed we must live as if our actions matter without cosmic validation. You must love as if her approval does not determine your worth. The moment her response becomes the measure of your value, you are no longer acting. You are reacting, a leaf in her wind, a reflection in her mirror. The absurd lover loves because he chooses to, not because she deserves it. She goes cold for a week, no explanation, no pattern you can predict. You send the long text, the vulnerable confession, the plea for clarity. She responds with a thumbs up emoji or something equally detached. You have just revealed that her silence has more power than your presence. Silence should be met with silence, the only language that preserves your ground. Individuation is the process of becoming whole without requiring another person to complete you. Jung saw it as the central task of the second half of life. You are attempting it backward, seeking completion first, then hoping to individuate after. It does not work in reverse. You cannot build the foundation after the house is constructed. You must become whole alone before you can stand whole beside another. She tells you she is not ready for anything serious right now. You say that it is fine. You will take whatever she can give, no pressure. She hears, I have no bottom line, no threshold, no point at which I walk. A man with no walk-away point has no negotiating power. She does not want you to negotiate. She wants you to know when to leave. Response windows are the time between stimulus and reply. You shrink yours to seconds, training her to expect instant access. She expands hers to days, training you to accept whatever she offers. This asymmetry is not accidental. It is a direct map of perceived value. The one who waits less is the one who needs less, and need repels while choice attracts. Camus stood in the ruins of meaning and built his own. He did not ask the rubble for permission or the void for approval. He looked at the empty sky and said, I will create my own stars. You are asking her to be your sky, your stars, your entire cosmology. When she dims, you collapse, because you never learn to generate your own light. She flirts with other men in front of you, gauges your reaction. You pretend not to notice, laugh along, display your modern enlightenment. Inside, you are screaming. but you silence it because you fear being called insecure. She does not want your silent suffering. She wants your honest boundary. The man who cannot say no to disrespect cannot say yes to respect. The storm does not apologize for uprooting trees that refuse to deepen their roots. She is not the storm, your lack of foundation is. For the chaos, but you never anchored yourself in bedrock. She revealed what was already unstable, already compromised, already leaning. Meh. The collapse was inevitable. She just happened to be present when it occurred. Masculine sovereignty means you are the author of your own experience. She can add to it, subtract from it, walk beside it, but not define it. You have handed her the pen and asked her to write your story. She does not want that job. She wants to see the story you wrote before she arrived. The sequel is only enjoyable if the original stands on its own. You cancel your gym session to answer her call. You skip the project to be available when she might text. You rearrange your life to fit her availability. This is not sacrifice. It is the slow suicide of putting another person's schedule above your mission. She does not respect the man who makes her the mission. She respects the mission she interrupts. Camus argued that we must rebel against the absurd without hoping it will change. You must enforce your boundaries without hoping she will finally understand. She may never understand. She may never understand the point. The point is that you remain intact whether she grasps it or not. Your integrity is not contingent on her comprehension or approval. She says she loves you, but her actions contradict her words. You cling to the words because they are what you need to hear. The chess player watches the board, not the opponent's expressions.